Welcome to the Beta Alpha Psi unofficial official podcast or official unofficial podcast. I'm joined here by two lovely guests from MYOB, Shailan Patel and Tricia Andrews. Thank you so much for all your sponsorship across the Oceania region. You've been a solid partner for the past many years. So why don't you get us started with a little bit about what MYOB does and how you fit into the organization.
Excellent. Good morning. Thanks for inviting Shailan and I along today. We're delighted to participate. So I might kick off by saying what MYOB is all about, what we're all about, and then a little introduction on where I fit in, and then Shailan can do the same where he fits in. So look, we have been working with businesses in Australia and New Zealand now for more than 30 years. So we really are well entrenched in Australia and New Zealand in the fabric of doing business. We were, you may have seen recently with our recent branding change, we are the original startup. So we're really proud that we were the first tech startup, and we're here to help businesses do business. So we're the original business management platform developers. It's basically now one flexible platform. We've evolved over those years. We've sort of transitioned in over many years to sort of keep in line with what's going on in industry and what's going on with technology, and literally to support local businesses. So we help them do business more efficiently so that they can, run their business in one sort of central location. So, I won't delve too much into the platform because that could be another podcast, on it by itself.
Right.
And where we fit in, that's it. Where I fit in is I work with Shailan. We partner together to look after all of our educators across Australia and New Zealand. So we're very passionate about enabling students with all the tools and resources that MYOB has available now, that really is helping students enter the workforce job ready and improve business literacy, digital literacy, and financial literacy. So that's really where we fit in. We come up with as many initiatives as we can. We partner with organisations such as yourself. We partner with other industry associations to actually amplify what we're doing here at MYOB to help students succeed, because at the end of the day, they then hit the workforce more job ready, and we're helping the economies around us grow over time as well.
That sounds awesome. Yeah, digital literacy, financial literacy, all very topical things. Shailan, do you want to introduce yourself a little bit?
Yeah, excellent. Thanks, Mangala. Appreciate the opportunity to be on the Beta Alpha Psi podcast. So, as Tricia mentioned, together we manage the education channel across Australia and New Zealand. Been a little bit longer than Tricia had. So, this is the only job that I've had in the 8 years I've been with MYOB, managing this space. Continues to evolve, and Tricia joined the team in 2021. So it's been a good 3 years now that we've been able to work together and really scale it up. I think 2021 was when we actually became professional partners for the region as well of Beta Alpha Psi. So having double the power to work with universities, TAFEs, high schools, RTOs, all types of different institutions, as well as those organisations that have a focus on students, early talent, that next generation coming through. So you're looking forward to the conversation.
Absolutely. Well, I see MYOB all over the Beta Alpha Psi events in this part of the world. So that's awesome. If you don't mind sharing a little bit more, Shailan, I wanted to explore, how did you come to know, or how did MYOB come to know Beta Alpha Psi? And what was the motivating factor around getting involved with it? I know Trish had sort of alluded to it before around improving digital and financial literacy with the MYOB agenda, but yeah, how did Beta Alpha Psi come into the radar? Because even as a student myself, when I'm casting back to the time when I was a student, I didn't know what Beta Alpha Psi was. So yeah, how did MYOB come to find out about it?
So this is going back now a few years, and we first came across the organisation with the Auckland chapter. in 2016. So part of my role in 2015, we identified that we could work with the students directly, not just the educators. So there was an opportunity to build relationships with those that we ultimately wanted to connect with. And started working with some other societies at the University of Auckland in 2015, and then had the conversation with the Auckland chapter in 2016. And the reason why this has been one of our most successful partnerships in this space is because of your membership base. Accounting, finance, information systems, they're all studying disciplines that link in with MYOB, what we do, the product that we offer, and ultimately then the next generation of professionals that we want to connect with. So a lot of your members will go on to work within the accounting and finance space, potentially may even transfer to the tech space. So a lot of synergy right off the bat. And then obviously working with the Auckland chapter meant we were able to learn about, there was other chapters within New Zealand. Then there's other chapters in Australia. And in 2020, there was a period where I was managing both countries before Tricia joined, and I learned of some of those other chapters. And then once Tricia came on, so I'm in Christchurch, hence why the relationship started in New Zealand. Tricia's over in Perth, and then in 2021, through the conversations that we've had with various chapters and faculty advisors, we wanted to really work with all chapters in Oceania. But we didn't want to, not for want of a better word, we didn't want to work with all the chapters globally because we only operate as a company in Australia and New Zealand. So it doesn't really make sense to do much with the American chapters or even go to the annual event, as much as we'd all like to go to Vegas.
Exactly.
And so someone who was fundamental, Julie, from the University of Auckland, their faculty advisor there, had those conversations with the team in America.
Yeah.
And we were able to work out a partnership just for this region. And then I suppose the rest is history. But
Absolutely.
that's how it all started. And, one chapter becomes a few, and now to 9. And how do we then get more chapters and more professional partners into this region?
Absolutely. No, that's awesome. And I think the partnership continues to flourish thanks to MYOB's kind of, instrumental driving in that agenda around like boosting financial and digital literacy and helping our students really become grad ready. So over to you, Trish. I mean, Perth, right? Shailan was saying you're based out in WA.
Yeah,
Like
that's right.
where do we think how do you think we can expand into those regions potentially, right? But also more broadly, how has your experience been interacting with the chapters? I think you're based out in Australia, in the Australia side. Do you get much exposure with the New Zealand ones as well? But yeah, if you can provide some general commentary around both, that'd be good.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, we get to come together obviously at the meetings and any opportunity that we get. So when I'm in Melbourne, even though I'm based here in WA, we're very transient. So we get to Melbourne, Sydney, and I guess through that relationship that we've built is awesome. So we're often in touch with the actual the facilitators all the time, and we come to, like example, at the AFANS conference, we ran a panel session. We had Janine on board from Sydney, which was awesome.
Yeah,
And
that's
we
awesome.
were amplifying the great work that Beta Alpha Psi are doing. So for me, when I joined, as Shailan said, on the team, I sort of thought, what's this Beta Alpha Psi? What's this all about? And then when I actually got to be involved and to meet the members, I was absolutely blown away. And you'll hear my passion about the caliber of member base. And when I actually started to understand the rationale of joining Beta Alpha Psi, and then sort of, I guess, the quality of students that are in the group was just exceptional. And I think I would say my experiences, because it's been obviously a lot shorter than Shailan's, has been through attending, even through COVID, when we were invited to speak at, a number of sessions to help students still sort of thrive and learn through that difficult period by giving them lots of tips and industry insights, and looking sort of through to the opportunities that will come out the other side. I think from there to the conferences, for me, a highlight was definitely when we were invited to be judges for the annual meeting for the Deloitte Challenge. And we obviously all came together with CA in Melbourne with the chapters, with over 80 students that we were delighted to bring into our Melbourne offices for the judging process. To also, and this is what we love to do, I know that the chapters have been into the office to utilise the spaces. That's the sort of initiatives that we really like to do, so they can see industry partners in action. But back to the actual Deloitte Challenge, again, that process really just highlighted the quality and caliber of the members. And, for them to actually have a clean sweep when they then went on to America in August and have a clean sweep with Monash and Swinburne really placing, in the highest and winning, taking out those categories, just show what the Oceania region brings to that wider group. And again, I would add the words that resonate, and I think that I actually said on stage when we were presenting the awards, were, the professionalism, the leadership qualities, the passion about communities, the proactive engagement that they actually seek with industry and the community, and shining through is that they're invested in their own self-development. So it's a cohort of very, very impressive students. And then, from our perspective at MYOB, we even that reflected in, we had our Partner of the Year awards recently, and we actually had a new category this year, which was for emerging leaders. And obviously, Mangala, you were a finalist.
Yes, thank you. Was very honoured by that. No, thank you so much.
No, but again, those qualities that we've mentioned that we see, and Shailan and I, and even Gavin, who was involved in the judging, and other senior leaders from MYOB that have been involved with Beta Alpha Psi, it just stands out that, that level of leadership. But also then Caitlin, obviously from New Zealand, went on to take out the winner's prize. And I've had feedback when she joined me only 2 weeks ago in Melbourne to get her award, and to actually share what partnering with MYOB means to Beta Alpha Psi and to her personally, and how it's really helped her as she's transitioned into the workforce. These sorts of relationships are really important. And, we were really proud of Caitlin. And again, to amplify that it's this quality of student coming through via Beta Alpha Psi that our industry is very excited about, because, and I now go to UWA, and like you said, how can we broaden this? We go out to other unis saying, if you are a AAA rated, you should look at Beta Alpha Psi. You should look at this sort of level of association, because it just stands out. So, I know that's a long
absolutely,
no,
that's awesome. Yeah. No, podcast alert. Like, I guess we'll have to get Caitlin onto one of this as well and share experiences, right? But yeah, thank you so much. It was honestly an honor to be recognized as a finalist in the Emerging Leader Awards with MYOB. And that's something that I don't take for granted, and I'm sure Caitlin will attest to it as well. It's awesome to see industry actually recognizing young professionals, like people who've just come into the workforce. Like, we're trying to kind of expand our skill sets, our networks, and we're being recognized for that. And I think that that's amazing, rather than having to wait around for like 20, 30, 40 years before you sort of get the acknowledgement. But yeah, I do want to explore a little bit about that, Trish. If you can speak a little bit more about what are some of the skills. I know you already mentioned digital and financial literacy, but like, what other skills are we looking for in a Beta Alpha Psi student as they transition to the workforce, particularly because you mentioned before when the quality of the presentation that was being provided at the regionals. And again, by the way, thank you for being judges for that. That was awesome. I'm sure the feedback that you provided must have carried across and then helped us get that clean sweep in Vegas. But yeah, like, what are some of the key employability skills that that you think you're looking for? I know Keddy, shout out to Keddy, one of our Beta Alpha Psi alumni, is an employee at MYOB, but certainly because MYOB is in a unique space, right? Like counting, finance, and information systems. I just want to know, like, what is exactly that you look for in a resume?
So, okay, I would say, you're looking for that academic achievement most certainly, but you're also looking for what other skills and attributes do the students bring to the table, and things like life skills, what they're doing outside of academia, what their passion is. And I think now it's widely known that obviously this next generation, their values are more about how we work now, flexibility, sustainability, what's going on in the environment, a lot of companies now know that to attract the best talent, they need to also we need to show, what's our culture, what do we represent? It's more than just a job, it's, you have to, they want to bring that passion. So I think students need to be able to clearly articulate what is important to them, but also, and so that really comes down to communication. So I think students need to be able to communicate with people at all levels. And nowadays we've got the tools, we've got the resources to ensure that whether it's face to face or online, the world's a small place. So having knowledge about what's going on out there, what's important to them, but being able to communicate and articulate those. So it again comes back to some of those soft life skills. I still like to call it life skills.
Life skills.
So, but also, what else do you bring? I think, from not so much from an MYOB perspective, but from our industry perspective, there's lots of accountants, bookkeepers, small businesses out there that need this next generation of their staff to come through, and they'll be, already they're digital natives, so they are passionate about social media. What else can they bring to a business aside from, they've obviously gone out and learned about how to be an accountant or a bookkeeper or a tech specialist or financial specialist, but what else do they bring that will actually, help that business to grow? Because typically, or to, and to sort of be efficient and those sorts of things. So, often students have got little sidelines that they're really good at, and they might not necessarily promote that when they're first meeting and widening their network. So I think it's also those additional skills that they can bring. I'm sure Shailan's got something to add to that too, but that would be my perspective initially.
Yeah, go for it, Shailan. Life skills and
echo what's already been said. But Mangala, you mentioned Keddy. He is our MYOB BAP champion for sure, especially his journey doing a conjoint commerce and science degrees at the University of Auckland, where we obviously first connected. But I think his journey is one that essentially, what grad employers are looking for. He visited our offices, and so that's not compulsory. That's not part of your course. Getting out there and really meeting the types of companies and industries you want to be part of. He participated in one of our hot hack days. Again, this is pre-COVID, and so those opportunities were maybe a lot more available than they are now, but there are different opportunities there. And again, we invited students to join in with one of our competitions internally, and then what you can do is highlight your skills to obviously MYOB staff, and then that led to him joining as an intern in Auckland and our grad program in Melbourne, and now he's a senior DevOps engineer. And so even within our grad program, some of the key things, you don't have to be the best coder, right? So it's not about
not about coding.
It's not. It's about obviously in their role, they'll be coding and they want to be a software developer.
Yeah.
But it's not about, we're just going to hire the best coders out there.
Yeah.
Growth mindset comes into play.
Growth mindset. Okay.
Right? And so then
I hope our listeners are jotting this down.
Yeah, I'm sure that's probably something that is being practiced within all the Beta Alpha Psi chapters, yet maybe just not identified like that. Could be a different term that you're using. And then teamwork, obviously, and so we see that within the chapters. We've seen that within different chapters. So I think the last speed networking event that Tricia and I went was between the University of Sydney chapter and one of the Melbourne chapters.
Oh yes, that's right.
And so again, that's teamwork, another form of it outside of your own chapter. And then what are MYOB's values? And do they? I always used to say, can you add to them? But it's actually, can you enhance them? Do you align to them, and can you help us doing it a better way or a different way? So we've been around for so long that we want people to come in and say, okay, well, here's a better way to collaborate, for example. And so it's not just fitting in within our mold, but adding to it and taking us to the next 30 years.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I really like the growth mindset thing, but I'm conscious that I know we're sort of approaching the half-hour mark. And Trish, I know you're we're all busy for a bit, so if thank you so much for joining this first part of the conversation. So I'm sure we'll continue to catch up with MYOB and have more podcast episodes come. But thank you so much both for joining. I am sure the students or the podcast listeners have got a lot, especially from that last question, Tricia and Shailan. I think just some of the things that I've got jotted down here. Understanding of sustainability, or what exactly you want to you're passionate about, and being able to articulate that, and then to your point, Shailan, around having a growth mindset. But again, thank you so much for joining the Beta Alpha Psi podcast, and we look forward to having you around for the next one.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure to join you, and we look forward to all of our initiatives with the members in 2024. So we're available, and we love to participate with you all.
2024 and beyond. I think Shailan was already counting more than however many years, right? So since 2015. So we look forward to continuing that collaboration, and we really thank you for your partnership as well. Hi everyone, Mangala here with the credits. This episode, titled Graduate Growth, Navigating Career Skills with MYOB, was hosted by myself, Mangala Prasetya, and accompanied by our special guests, Tricia Andrews and Shailan Patel from MYOB. The episode was recorded online, and the music was sourced from Resolute Audio and Fine-Tune Music on Adobe Stock. A huge shout out to Beta Alpha Psi for their financial support and keeping the podcast going strong. If you haven't already, please join the alumni and member network. Details can be found in the show notes. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next episode of Becoming a Professional.